Today, we're talking about a really powerful financial tool, one that can open the door to owning a home in the US even if you don't have a social security number. Yep, we're talking about the ITIN, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. So here's the big question, right? How on earth do you buy a home or get a loan in the US without a social security number? I mean, it feels like the entire US financial system runs on that one number. If you don't have one, it's like hitting a brick wall. But what if I told you there's a specific mechanism, a kind of key designed to get you around that wall? Well, there is. All right, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why you feel locked out without an SSN. Then, we'll introduce the ITIN as your financial key. We'll cover how to get one, what it unlocks, and, super important, we'll talk about the risks involved. Okay, Section 1, Locked Out Without an SSN, the financial wall. Let's really dig into the problem first, because without a US tax ID, you're basically a ghost to the financial system. And we're not talking about a small hurdle here. It's a massive wall. And just look at what that wall blocks you from. We're talking about the absolute basics of financial life. You can't apply for most credit cards, which means you can't build a US credit history. Forget about getting a mortgage from a traditional bank. Heck, even opening a simple bank account can be a nightmare. You can't even claim tax refunds you might be owed. All these doors are just slammed shut. Okay, moving on to Section 2, the ITIN, your financial key. So what if I told you there's a key made specifically for that lock? That key is the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN. Now, what's fascinating is that it was created for one reason, but, well, its purpose has evolved into something much, much bigger. So, what exactly is an ITIN? Let's get into the specifics. It's a 9-digit number, and you can always spot it because it starts with a 9. The IRS, that's the US tax agency, issues it, and its official job? It's simply for federal tax reporting. That's it. This isn't some shady loophole, you guys. It's a totally official government tool created to make sure people can comply with tax laws. Now, this is maybe the most important thing to get straight. An ITIN is not a social security number. They are two completely different things. Look at the table here. The big one, the one you cannot forget, is work authorization. An SSN gives you the right to work. An ITIN? Absolutely not. It gives you zero legal right to work in the US. It is only, and I mean only, a tax number. Getting this wrong can lead to huge problems, so it's critical to understand the distinction. Right, next up, Section 3, how to get your ITIN, the application mechanism. So we know what it is and what it isn't. Now for the practical part. How do you actually get your hands on one? Let's dive into the step-by-step process. When you boil it all down, the whole process is really 3 main steps. 1, you've got to fill out the right form, which is the IRS Form W-7. 2, you have to show them you actually need it for tax purposes, which usually means attaching a tax return. And 3, you have to prove who you are and that you have foreign status by providing some very specific documents. It's pretty straightforward, but you definitely have to pay attention to the details. And here's what it looks like. This is the famous Form W-7. It might just look like another government form, but this piece of paper right here, this is the starting line. This is what kicks off the whole process of getting you plugged into the US financial system. Okay, let's talk about the documents, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up. Proving your identity and foreign status is absolutely the most critical part of this whole thing. And the IRS is, well, they're picky about what they'll take. You'll see here that a passport is the gold standard. Why? Because it knocks out 2 birds with 1 stone. It proves who you are and your foreign status, all in one go. If you use something else, like say a US state ID, that only proves your identity. You'd still need another document to prove your foreign status. All right, now listen up, because this is a really important, non-obvious detail, especially if you're thinking about a mortgage. Remember how I said you usually need to attach a tax return to your application? Well, there's a loophole. a perfectly legal one. It's called Exception 3 in the IRS rules. And what it says is that if you're getting a home mortgage loan, you can actually submit proof of that loan instead of a tax return. This is a game changer because it's a specific provision made for exactly this situation. Okay, Section 4, Unlocking Credit and Loans, the Cause and Effect Chain. Let's say you've done it. You've navigated the paperwork and you now have your ITIN. So, what now? Well, this is where the magic happens. This is where we see this incredible chain reaction that the ITIN kicks off. Suddenly, that little 9-digit number unlocks all of these doors. With an ITIN, banks and credit unions are now able to open checking and savings accounts for you. And once you have that bank account, that's your foothold. That's the foundation you use to apply for a credit card and start building a credit history. And once you have a credit history, well, now you're talking personal loans, car loans, and yes, even the home mortgage that started this whole conversation. And I want to be clear, this isn't some back alley secret practice. We're talking about mainstream financial institutions. Take this quote from Embold Credit Union about their ITN lending program. Everyone is welcome here. That's not just marketing fluff. It shows a real institutional commitment to serving this community. They see the ITN as a perfectly valid tool to provide financial services. So let's just map it out, the whole path from start to finish. You can see right here, it's a perfect cause and effect chain. First, you get the ITN. That's the catalyst, the spark. That lets you file taxes and open a bank account. The bank account lets you build credit. And that credit history is the final key that makes you eligible for a mortgage. It's a clear, logical progression, from a simple tax ID all the way to homeowner. All right, let's move on to our final section, understanding the risks, privacy, and protection. Look, it's really important that we're clear-eyed about this. Using an ITIN is an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it is not risk-free. And we absolutely have to talk about privacy and how your data is protected. And this is the elephant in the room, isn't it? Is your information actually safe with the IRS? I mean, this is probably the #1 question on your mind, especially for anyone in a sensitive immigration situation. You're handing over your personal info to the government? So, what happens to it? So let's just look at the facts. There's a US law, Section 6103 of the Tax Code, that puts up a really strong wall around your taxpayer data. In general, it prohibits the IRS from sharing your information with other government agencies, and yes, that includes immigration enforcement. But, and this is a big but, that wall isn't absolute. If a federal court orders it for a non-tax criminal investigation, the IRS can be forced to share information. So the takeaway is this: the privacy protections are strong, but they are not unbreakable. Applying isn't zero risk. And that brings us to our final thought. The ITIN started out as a pretty boring tool, right? Just a number for filing taxes. But look at what it's become. It's now an unofficial key to a whole financial life in America for millions of people. It's the key to opening a bank account, to building credit, to buying a home. The way this simple bureaucratic number has evolved into a gateway, well, it tells us a lot about the hidden pathways that people find to access their piece of the American dream.